Today we're gonna talk about movement, punching. Now there are a couple of ways you have to do a punch. There are certain ways you should not do a punch. For instance, if you're doing a comic, you probably want to have the characters kind of like this. We're just gonna do like this, just to show you. So for instance, the first thing you probably want to do is the wind up, you know, the coming at you with the punch, kind of like this, right? So this fist is gonna go into that person's face like this. All right, so we could call this the incoming, right? So incoming punch. What you want to do later on is one or two, I would usually say, because you never should stop on the face with the fist. So you should not. Let's do it like here, okay? So what you don't want to do is like this, where you have the face and the punch like so, okay? So I'm gonna go with the boom, and we have the punch like so. So this is what you don't want to do, because there is no impact, there's no feeling of you know, power or speed or force. It can be used, however. I'm not saying that you should not ever use it, because there are some points where you can use it. For instance, in, you know, comedy, maybe it's a failed punch, so the character on this side, on the right side, doesn't feel the punch at all. So you could use it for comedy, so unless comedic purpose, or perhaps a fail punch. So that's the only two times that I would use it, when I would use the fist on the face. But if you want a real good punch or a real good swing, you know, even if it's a kick or a punch, it doesn't matter, but the impact should not be at the point of impact. It should be after. You can use it, like I said, sometimes when it's an impact, but you have to comply with a couple of things. And then you have the swing, which is incoming, and then you have the swing, which is more likely like so. The body is already punched, so the fist is somewhere around here, and the other arm is probably going up like this, and the guy on the right is probably going away because of the punch. So you get the boom, and then you have the impact like such, and the character is going away from the punch in the right order. Of course, if you're swinging from a distance, and if you're going in a direction, then the character that is getting punched will also have to, you know, follow up in that direction. Otherwise, it's gonna look bad. So, for instance, if he's punching with his right hand to the left, the character that gets punched has to move from his point of view to the right, or in our instance, away from the camera, because in this case we have it from the side. So this is the swing. Impact, we can call it like this. We can do it like this. We can take, let's go like this, and just put everything in order. So impact, rarely can we say, unless comedic fail punch. So these two, the incoming is usually when you're doing comics and stuff like that. If you're just doing an art piece with no, you know, before or after image or panel, then you don't have to, you know, worry about the incoming punch, unless that's what you want to do and just focus on the incoming, you know, punch, the speed and force of it. When it comes to swinging, there's a lot of different ways because there's a lot of different ways you can punch. But I'm gonna go and show you a couple of things that you can do. And let's start with the incoming. So incoming, here you have two very popular way of doing it. The first is a pretty much you know, using the let's see, let's go like this. Anyway, I'm gonna go and do a new layer. There we go. So you see here you have the focus of the punch coming here, and then you have the speed lines, you know, rushing, so we can see the speed, because right now we're kind of looking at it from the guy that's gonna get punched or the girl that's gonna get punched. We're looking at the puncher and the fist coming towards us. So it's always kind of like, it's a one-point perspective kind of thing. You see where you get the fist going towards you. Everything goes from that point and coming right at you. And then you have of course, the body that is, you know, not shown all the way, but just kind of like, okay, here the head and the body and the arm is coming, and then you see the fist most farthest away. The second one is pretty much the same thing. You can see we're focusing pretty much on the fist here, but you can see that the fist has speed lines. So we're doing even more speed now, because now the fist is not clear, so it gets speed and coming against. And you can also do more speed lines here if you want to, depending on how much, because I wanted to show that here you can see how angry the person is that's punching, but you can, you know, show more speed lines and even push it even further if you want to. But these are pretty much the usual, you know, incoming punch kind of ways. So I'm not gonna go cover that too much, because there are different ways you can do it. You can show the whole body, you know, you can frame it off so you can only see the fist and perhaps the face and stuff like that. So incoming is like that. Then you have impact, and here you can see a couple of different ways you can do impact without not doing the comedic or fail punch kind of thing. But there are some things that you can see right away that I'm doing that isn't, you know, just a still image. For instance, you can see here that I'm using speed lines a little bit here and there to show that the arm is in motion. It's kind of like we captured a moment where the smaller guy here gets punched in the stomach. You can see some effects over here, you know, some lines that show that, ooh, it's going like it's going right through him. And you can also see the expression in the face that he's getting punched. And this you can even punch up even more. Haha, pun pun. But you can show in the character's face that he's like dropping his breath, he's feeling the punch in his stomach, or maybe he's just like, oh, that really hurt. But as you can see, I'm also showing the whole body bending because of the force. So this is something that you have to do. You have to really make it feel like the punch is going in. And as you can see, I also bend, so the fist is almost like digging in to the body. That's a good way of showing a still image, but with a little bit of speed, just to, you know, it's kind of like when you capture a motion, it still hasn't stopped, so you get a little bit of blur, but in this case we use speed lines for that. And you can say that about all of those impact, these, as you can see here. I'm showing you speed with, I'm not doing some things clear, because it's kind of like you capture the moment, but there's still speed going on. For instance, in the background I have speed lines that go like this, just to show you that it's still a captured moment, but it's, you know, in motion still. So it's a still image, but in motion, if that makes any sense. And as you can see, I do speed lines on the part that is moving. This arm is not moving as much. This is kind of like the, you know, getting the balance, and the arm that's punching upwards is the one that goes speed. And you can do more speed here, even there. You can go full like sonic blast into the face, you know, for instance, if you want to. But just trying to do the impact thing, which is pretty much a still image, and you still get the feeling of the hit of the punch. You can also do more if you want to with the character here. You can bend and stuff like that, do more speed lines even up here, trying to, you know, create motion and stuff like that, which is up to you, of course. And then you have the kind of backhand upper punch here, and you can see here clearly how much I'm trying to not make lines, but I'm doing speed lines. So I'm getting the hand, because this is the part that moves at a very high speed, and then you have the impact, which shakes the head of this character, which is also conveyed by these speed lines. And you try to make it like the speed is going like so. So try to remember that if something is moving like this, it's gonna not be on this side, it's gonna be on this side, and it's gonna be kind of like raining like so down. You don't do it here, you do it on the other side of the force. So you can see here, same thing, is trying to make, and sometimes you can have some like, ooh, something hits and something shakes off, kind of like in, you know, in kung fu movies or in Western movies where someone gets punched, there's like liquid coming out of their mouth, or in Hong Kong or kung fu movies you have dust coming off because they're touching and punching, so it's kind of like punching off either fluids or dust or whatever, but it's kind of like an impact kind of thing over here. So that's how you kind of do impact without having, you know, the humor in it. And then you have the swing. Now this is the classic one. This is pretty much the one that everyone uses. Mostly because it's the most effective one, because you can see the whole punch, you get to see the after effect, you get to see how hurt the other character is, or maybe the character is like flowing, flying away from the punch, which means that the character that punched has very much power. Also a way to show great powers. Now this is something much simpler, this one, because you can see the head is almost like tilted around. This is a more comedic version of it, so you can see kind of like, oh, so the punch must have gone something like this, and then you can see almost the punch. You can see, without me using any speed lines, kind of like, okay, here's the swing. You can see the body, how's it bending. You can also see how the character getting punched has some, you know, cheek and everything like this getting punched. You can see the teeth. It looks like he's missing a tooth. You can see fluid coming out here, and you can see that it hurt him. But you can also do it like this, where you get even bigger swing. I'm trying to, there you go. Here you can see that I'm using only just lines. You don't even see the fist. You don't see you see the swing, but you don't see the fist, but you see it like, oh, it goes so fast that the fist is not even visible, and he's kind of like bending over, and you can see the impact punch here, and you can see how the character is like, boom, skin is, you know, flowing and punching up, and you can see how hurt he is. I'm using some small speed lines here to convey that the punched one is kind of like, oh, forcefully, you know, going backwards, while the punch is primarily just speed lines, a quick thick line outside, and then here is just so fast you don't even see the fist anymore. So that's a good way to do a good swing, not even showing the fist or arm at all, just, you know, kind of speed lines, because you know and feel that that is the arm and fist. Here you have the after effect, really good after effect, and you can also use the sound effects. Here you can see the punch is probably going something like boom, something like that, and you can see here's the hit area, and you can see that the arm and everything is kind of blurred out. It's so fast, even the whole body is kind of fast. He's really putting his whole body into the punch. And then you have the sound effect going in the background, very big, kind of showing like BAM, he got hit. And then you have, of course, the character that's getting punched, just flying away, just falling all over the place. And you can see here as well, I've used some different speed lines. Not the way that the character is going, but the punch is going the other way, because the punch is getting him to flow away. Here you can also do even more speed lines and everything, but it's a good way to show that the punch is really great and it's falling away, it's flying away. That's how powerful this punch really was. Same thing goes here. You can see here I put the puncher in the lower corner and the punched up here. So there's quite a distance between the punched and the puncher. And that's to show that the force of this punch made him flow. And this could be used for, emphasizing power, or it could be used for, comedic things. This usually is kind of like when in manga, when the girl gets really mad at the protagonist and like, oh, you pervert, and boom, punches, and the character is flying away. So it could be used for a comedic way, just because how far and high up the punch is. But you can see here, most of the character is straight lines. Here some speed lines, but most of the speed lines is in the arm that's going in the swing direction. And the punched is kind of going in this way. I try to do most of it in kind of like, so it's kind of thinking there's the punch happening, and from there you get lines that go towards it. So it's kind of like, where does it hit, and then you go from there and do the speed lines on the punched, the victim. So as you can see, there's different ways of doing this, and there's like millions of ways you can do this. But like I said, there's the pre-swing, which you can do in different ways. It doesn't have to be, POV, the person that's looking on the fist coming into their face. It doesn't have to be like that. But you kind of have to have some kind of force that feels, okay, this is going to be a big punch. When it comes to impact, you have to have some speed lines, because I think to get a really forceful and really good punch, you have to know where to put the speed lines. Is it going to be in the background? Is it going to be on the arm or leg or the body? Where's the speed lines going? And impact, it kind of shows you that sometimes you have to have both. Sometimes you can have it without. But for the most time, it's usually good to have speed lines, especially if you're gonna capture a still moment, especially like this one. It's really good to have the fist not clear and make it look like it's really moving. When it comes to swings, yeah, I usually tend to do, get more, be excited, do a really good swing, show the power of the swing, because that makes it feel a much more consistent hit. And not like, oh, did he hit him or what happened? So always try to do a great big swing and make it feel like it's really powerful, because that looks more interesting than, like in real life. It's not gonna be, not much of a punch. It's not gonna be much effect. It's not gonna be like, oh wow, that looked like a super punch. So think about that and try to do the best punch that you feel like, yeah, this is how it's supposed to be. I hope you have learned something from this. Like I always say, if you want me to do a video about something, please let me know in the comments below. It really helps me out. I'm doing these videos for you guys and girls. So please, if there's anything you want to learn or everything, just ask. There's nothing you can't ask. Okay? So I hope I will see you in the next tutorial video. Bye!